Hey there, everybody. Okay. Okay, so very much apologize for the delay. Was not my plan. And let's see here. Let's get this where I want it to be. Okay. Alrighty. Get started here in just a second. Alrighty. So, welcome to Stripe Stream number 8, Way of the Dad Live. Coming to you from the Way of the Dad partially converted Toolshed Studios. Warmer now than they were before. We got everything insulated in here. I do need to get back to getting to work on the actual physical background behind me that you can't see because I've got the magic of green screen technology going on. But it's getting there. Big news for the channel at the moment is the channel is now on Twitter. I took the dive. I personally don't like Twitter, at least for myself, like as for personal social media. But for the podcast, it actually works quite well because it allows me to interact and respond on a more dynamic basis. So I actually like it a lot for that. I've been having a lot of fun with it. And of course, Twitter's, whether you like it or not, Twitter's like the wild, wild west right now. So it's actually kind of fun over there. So it is on Twitter at Way of the Dad Pod, Pod, short for podcast. Podcast was too long. And at Way of the Dad was taken somehow already. So at Way of the Dad Pod on Twitter. Follow me there if you wish to. And so let's get down to tonight. What do we have for tonight? Tonight we have from the Wooden Cask Brewing Company, their new porter, English Brown Porter. This is a local place here out of Newport, Kentucky. New Porter is a northern English-style brown porter with a deep brown color and a tan head. They said head. A malt aroma is reminiscent of toasted bread while giving flavors of dark fruit and chocolate. All right. Let's rock this one out. Let's see what this one looks like poured. Now that looks pretty damn good. So, if you've got them, cheers or tagai. That's good. That's actually, yeah, I'm going to have to pick up more of that. That's actually quite decent. Very, very tasty. I like it. It's got a good finish. It doesn't punish you to drink it. It's actually quite good. So, alrighty. Anyway, so what did we have? Did anybody pay attention? Did we play a game this past Sunday? I feel like we played a game, and I can't remember what game we played. It wasn't that big of a deal, was it? I don't think it was a big deal game. It didn't feel like a big deal game. It felt just ho-hum, no big deal. Oh shit, that's right. Never mind. We played the Steelers. Yeah, it was a big ass deal. It's a big damn deal. And I don't like getting into the whole must win, but it was must win. And I said it was must win because this game needed to be won. We're 0-3 in the division. We got to put some W's on that column. It just has to be. Of course, it's the Steelers, so it's division rival, and nobody wants to lose to their division rival. And that's totally legit. But it wouldn't have been as bad if we weren't 0-3 in the division. So that's why I called it must win. Not to mention, you win that game, and it continues to make your chances of getting in the playoffs that much better. Obviously, nothing's a guarantee right now, but it sure makes it a hell of a lot better. So what I was really happy with was, when you go through these scoring drives, I mean, there was, the first quarter was, well, initially it was, kind of tit for tat, with the Steelers. We score a little something, they score a little something. I mean, here, listen to this. Drives, okay? All drives. Bengals punt, Steelers punt. Bengals get a field goal, Steelers get a field goal. Bengals get a touchdown, Steelers get a touchdown. Bengals get a touchdown, Steelers get a touchdown. Bengals interception, and Steelers field goal. And that is the first time they had a lead. They got that lead just going into halftime. And then it changes. And it changed for the Steelers. So, it didn't feel great going into halftime with, being down 3 points, but it also, I didn't feel like we were out of it at all. I didn't feel like we were even, it felt like, it felt like it was just this tit for tat, punch for punch. You're watching two boxers kind of, answering and responding to each other's, previous movement. And okay. So got some people watching out there. They need to make a comment or something, That's the whole point. Anyway, so but and it was kind of a fit and start type of game. It didn't start off like with a bang like we've had the past couple weeks where they just run right down the field and put a touchdown on the board like right up front. So it wasn't like that, which is okay. And then when we came out of half, I really felt encouraged when they were able to stop them on there. Because, that's the thing is they ended up on an interception, getting 3 points right before halftime, got the lead. And that can be where, bad things happen because then they had it after the half too. And it was a little, we made them punt, they made us punt, we made them punt, and then we put a touchdown up. And, we made them punt again, and then TJ Watt had that ridiculous interception. I mean, I'm as much as I don't like that guy, he's not normal. He's not a regular human being. He's something else. I'd probably like him a lot more if he was on our team. Let's be honest. But then that's when, you could tell we were pulling away, and especially in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter is where it really turned on. But the defense played better after the half. It's almost like they paid attention to how they were playing, made their adjustments, and it seemed to really work. And this defense, even though they don't have Chidobe, They had DJ Reader, but I know he was on a little bit of a pitch count, although I heard he went over his snap count that they wanted him. Pitch count, snap count. I'm going to use snap count, I guess. But I think he ended up playing more snaps than what they planned for him to play. But he was a factor. Even though our DNs, Hubbard and Hendrickson, they didn't get home a lot. They created pressure more in the second half, and the defense was doing a lot of different things. And then Cam Taylor-Britt really actually played pretty damn well. It doesn't mean he's going to be perfect. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes, but he played pretty well. And Eli Apple didn't play the greatest, but he also, he's Eli Apple. He's going to have some highlights and he's got some lowlights. So, whatever. But I was really happy with how the defense played out of the half. And then the offense started figuring out how to turn it on. And, of course, it was the Samaje Perine show. Who would have thought of that? I hope you had started Samaje Perine in your fantasy league, because almost everybody did, I'm sure, right? So, but some of my takeaways for the game was it was an ugly game like I thought it was going to be. It's division rivals, and it's always this way, especially with the Steelers. The Steelers, even though they're basically dead team walking coming into this game with their record at, was it 3-6? Yeah, they're 3-7 now. So yeah, 3-6. They were already dead team walking to begin with. They need the hand of God to get them into the playoffs. But that team will show up and they will take pleasure in spoiling a division rival's chances. They don't care. That's fine with them. Hell, we've done it. I remember the Ryan Finley smiling game. Ryan Finley somehow willing the Bengals to beat the Steelers, and he's smiling he's got that smile at the bottom of the pile of people tackling him. And, so we've done it before. Sure. It's how it goes. And I don't expect anything less from the Browns again when we play them again. I don't expect anything less when we play the Ravens unless they're resting all of their starters at the end of the season or something like that. So, it was a rough game. Thankfully, it was not a significant level of injury game. Sometimes these, specifically it seems like with the Browns and the Steelers, injuries tend to be a little more, they tend to rack up a little more, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know if that's because there's a lot more dirty stuff going on at the bottom of a pile, but you can tell these players are juiced up to hit each other a little harder than they would have, than they did previously, or they would have before, or say another team, non-division team. But it was really obvious that that the Bengals were starting to pull away in the third, maybe mostly kind of like towards the late third and into the fourth. And it's like the defense started clamping down more and more and more, forcing Pickett to do things he didn't want to do. If I remember correctly, I'm trying to think where I heard this from. I think it was on the Locked On Bengals breakdown with Bengals Sands. And I think they talked about that they had changed to a cover two, mostly cover two defense in the second half, to kind of keep Pickett from being able to find the open man, because they had played more like man before, and so they moved to a cover two to kind of slow that down and stop that. And apparently they were bringing unconventional, not quite a full blitz, but, more than four, on the line to rush after him, but bringing it from different angles and different places to keep him guessing. And whatever it is, it worked. Lou Anarumo, mad scientist, went back to the lab and cooked up something else to, mess with the other quarterback. So didn't hurt my feelings. Um, let's see here. There we go. So, but overall, I was really happy with the game. Really, really, really happy with Drew Chrisman. Man, you want to talk about a guy who had most of the Bengals fans watching him. Of course, the broadcast, they didn't even know that he was playing. They had Kevin Huber's name listed as the punter. Nice job, guys. Way to do your homework. But Drew Chrisman, I mean, he boomed some punts. You can tell. I mean, I hate to say this, and I love Kevin Huber, and I think Kevin Huber deserves to be in a Ring of Honor at some point in the Bengals Ring of Honor, and maybe even help him transition into the coaching ranks. If that's something he's interested in, or in some way keep him around with the team. But I mean, it's night and day. It's really obvious the difference. And, Kevin Huber's leg just doesn't have it anymore. Drew Chrisman was changing the field when he had to punt. We punted more in this game than I preferred, but hey, we got a good look at Drew Chrisman. Now, is he going to be quite as accurate as Huber? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to be that good. But he's a lot better than what we had working for us, and I that's hard to be like that about it, but I'm trying to figure out here. What is this doing? Okay. I had to just check my own stream for a minute because I'm looking over here and it looks like my connection is terrible, but on my phone everything looks fine. So, sorry. Got distracted. Saw something shiny, got distracted. But Drew did a good job with holding for Evan McPherson for his kicks. I mean, he did what he needed to do. And Evan McPherson looked back. I mean, he looked good. And Heinz Field, because I don't give a shit what they just renamed it, is not a good place to kick. It's like Cleveland, the Brown Stadium. It's not a good place to kick. The wind whips through there. It's a really tough place to kick. And that was kind of obvious because I don't know what it was, but neither one, either McPherson and I can't remember the Steelers kicker name for the life of me right now, neither one of them could kick a touchback. So, I don't know if that was on purpose, but it seemed odd that neither kicker could kick off and get a touchback. So, whatever. Crazy. But offense, of course, the line maybe had one of the best games they've had in a long time. Specifically, and the line as a whole, but let's start with Jonah Williams. We were really, really, really low on Jonah Williams. What was it? Well, definitely after the Browns game, and then even the Panthers game, I don't know that he played that well. But he had one of his best games of the season, and that's just, you got to give credit when it is due. If you're gonna rag on someone when they're bad, be prepared to give them their props when they're good or when they're great. And I try to do that with Eli. Everybody likes to say Eli's trash. Eli Apple's not trash. He's just not great. There's like a whole. I know this is going to come as a surprise. But you can have great over here, and you can have trash. Let me move that in frame there. There we go. All the way over here. And there's this whole range between the two. And there's a lot of words that can be fitted into that range. It's not binary. They're great or they're trash. I'm sorry. That's not how it works. So give Jonah his due. He shut down Highsmith almost the entire game. Volson, he had a couple moments where Cam Hayward, who is a legit, probably first ballot Hall of Famer, got the better of him. Oh my God, shocker. Longtime vet, still at pretty much the top of his game, probably a first ballot D-line Hall of Famer, got the best of a rookie from a, what is that, like a 1A school or 1AA? North Dakota State, I think, right? Oh my God, shocker. But overall, Cordell played good. Karras, Kappa, and Collins. Collins they played TJ Watt a little differently. Now, I know TJ Watt was batting passes something awful, and it was really annoying, and even me and my buddy Dave, who, I don't know if he's having trouble figuring out how to comment on this video. That's because you're using YouTube TV, dude. I don't know. Get on your phone. But we were talking about how it's like, man, we really need Burrow to spend a little time learning how to pump fake or something, because it's just every time he threw, and TJ Watt was up there. It felt like, anyway. I know it wasn't every time, but Collins kept on him though. So last time, once TJ Watt realized he wasn't getting home as much as he quite wanted to, he backed off, and he'd just back off and be free and be untethered from Collins. Well, Collins stayed on him most of the time this time, and he learned. And Collins did get the better of TJ Watt most of the game. Not saying TJ Watt didn't have any good moments, but Collins actually did a pretty good job keeping him under wraps. Running backs. Where do we start? Samaje Perine, I think did he tie or break the record for most receiving touchdowns caught by a Bengals running back? A Bengals record, by the way. I think he did. I know it was either tie or break. I can't remember which one it is. But Perine really stepped up when Mixon went down. Mixon was okay, but he apparently got a concussion. Although he looks like he's fine. He was definitely looking like he was fine after the game when he did some I don't know, Instagram or Twitter, I don't know what it was. They were all dancing, celebrating and everything. So he looked very fine there. I mean, he didn't look like a guy who was real worried about his noggin at the moment. So, and some of the rumors are that it was real mild and they just took him out to be just, precautions. So, but obviously that really did well. And then we saw Travion Williams get some real time on the field, and he had some decent runs. Nothing amazing, nothing that makes me think he's going to take Chris Evans' spot, but he did look, he looked legit out there. He looked like he knew what he was doing, and but yeah, and then you had Trenton Irwin really step up. As they've been doing a little Jamar Chase replacement by committee approach. And it was really obvious that Trenton Irwin is a guy who's going to go out there. He's going to produce. He's not going to take over the game. He's not going to, he's not going to make you not miss Jamar Chase. But he can be a reliable guy out there on the field. And that's really what matters in the NFL, is being reliable, being consistent, especially for a quarterback. If a quarterback knows that, this guy doesn't get a lot of time to play, but when he does, I know exactly where he's going to be, right where he's supposed to be. That matters. And Joe Burrow said as much in his postgame. So, but, defense played amazing. Special teams played great, especially considering some of the changes and the upheaval they've had. And then the offense, Joe was dealing. He was out there being absolutely surgical. And he had time. but he knew when to throw the ball. Now, he got laid out a few times after, throw that ball, split second later, somebody's laying him out on the grass or the turf or whatever they're playing out over there. But Burrow did exactly what needed to be done, and he got the ball to exactly where it needed to go. T. Higgins woke up, and finally, near the end, and I know it must have been frustrating for Tyler Boyd, but he finally was able to break free and get some very valuable pass catches in the fourth. Excuse me. So it was a really great game. It was necessary. It was needed. And, it's always fun to watch the Steelers lose. And boy, were they salty. Because that onside kick they tried at the end, and Tyler Boyd caught it, and you saw, was it George Pickens? And apparently, he has a history of this from college. Of this extracurricular, after the play, cheap, dirty hit type stuff. So apparently that was 100% on brand. And not that it mattered, but they did throw him out of the game. It's like, yeah, there's like 9, I don't know, what was it? Was there 2 plays left? I don't know what it was. There wasn't much. I think there was 2, there was 2 knees. They had to take 2 knees. And it's like, ooh, you threw him out for, I don't know, 50 seconds or a minute 10, something like that. But hey, at least they called it, So, but anyway, so we're halfway through this part. Definitely feel free to post your comments in the comment chat, or in the chat, and I will be happy to respond to some. If you have a question, I'll be happy to answer it. I'm not guaranteeing that it's going to be an intelligent answer, but I'll answer it. That's something, right? Shit, that's good beer. Damn, that is really, really good. I'm very surprised by that. Not that I expected it to be bad, it just better than I thought. So let's bring up here. Okay. And we've got the Titans. Got the Titans coming up. That's going to be an interesting one. Okay. So we've got the Titans coming up. Well, first, I'm going to pause for station identification or whatever. But if you are new to Way of the Dad, please hit the subscribe button, and there's a little bell next to it for notifications, and you can customize how you want your notifications, but you can make sure that you actually get notified. I do try to do my best to... Unfortunately, tonight was unexpected. We had some friends come over that we haven't seen in a very, very long time, and we've had a... we've had a loss in our group of friends very, very recently. And it's weird how sometimes something like that can cause you to get back together. And you wish it didn't take something like that. But it was nice to see them. And so I didn't want to, but I did decide to kick the live stream out just a little bit. But yeah, I didn't want to, it wasn't my plan tonight. I didn't know it was going to happen. It was just one of those on the fly things. So, but if you're new, hit subscribe, and follow, on the Facebook page, and, or the Twitter page, if that's your particular flavor. It's on Instagram too. And I'll admit, I've learned to figure out how to post so that it'll post to both Facebook and Instagram the same. But I don't use Instagram as much. I haven't seen a lot of activity there. I guess that's why. But obviously, if you message me or you make a comment, I'll see it. I'll respond to it. But Twitter seems to be pretty interesting right now. That's like... That's almost like the equivalent of trying to drink out of a fire hose. It is constant chaos on Twitter. Twitter is just strange. It's very strange. But for the podcast, it works really well. And it allows me to reach out and network a little more, you know, travel in certain circles or whatever you want to call that crap. But yeah, if you like this stuff, try to share it. Share the videos; it helps. But I'm also on Twitter because if Elon Musk does what he says he's going to do and turn Twitter into something more than at least what it's always been, and he's talking about wanting more video content creators on there. I'm not saying I'll leave YouTube, but I'll definitely dual stream because right now I'm using an open source software that works pretty well, but I'm thinking about moving to StreamYard, and unfortunately I do have to pay for that. Well, I don't have to pay for it, but I'm probably going to pay for it so I don't have their watermark all over it. So I might do that where I can dual stream to multiple platforms at the same time. And if that goes through, that's great. Otherwise, it's at least still fun. But for right now, YouTube is probably the primary place. But you can reach out to me and follow on Twitter and Facebook. So, and then it's also on Rumble. Everything that happens on YouTube about 24 to 36 hours later will show up on the Rumble page. And likewise, if you comment on any of that, I'll see it and I'll respond to it. So, okay, so let's get into the Titans talk. This is going to be an interesting one. I don't sit here and profess to know everything about the Titans other than, I pay some attention, but I'm not going to sit here and say I know who their, I don't know, fifth string wide receiver is or any of that. But this is an interesting game, partially because of what happened last year. And it affected, say someone like Ryan Tannehill, and he's been pretty open about how it took him a while to get over that game because he threw 3 picks, and those 3 picks are pretty much the reason we went to the Super Bowl, or at least had a big hand in it. I think that's safe to say, right? So, but the Titans game is interesting because even though it's every year is a new team, but let's be honest, both these teams have mostly the same players, at least the primary ones, right? I mean, Derrick Henry, they're going to want to try to run it. They're going to want to run it. They're going to want to slow down this clock. They're going to want to do a lot like what Atlanta does, would like to do, and like what the Saints would have liked to have done. Run it, maintain ball possession, keep Joe Burrow sitting on the sideline. Easier said than done, but of course, it's a valid strategy. The Bengals are going to want to score quickly and take that run game out of the mix. Not that the Bengals haven't been fairly good at actually keeping Derrick Henry under wraps. They did it well last year. Everybody was worried about Derrick Henry, and actually, the Bengals kept him. I don't know if he got 100 yards. I can't remember. But whatever it didn't amount to enough. It didn't amount to the points it needed to. Let's put it that way. It wasn't a high-scoring game. It was 19-16. But this team plays hard. The defense plays hard. And trying to think about how I see this game going or how I perceive it could go. It's hard to call it because this team is like one of those teams. It's not sexy. They don't have any, they don't have a lot of highlight reel, I guess is the way to maybe say it. They don't do a lot of that. They just win. When they win, they win. It's ugly. And of course, they're coming off beating a fairly bad Packers team We're coming off a beaten by by win-loss record, a not very good Steelers team. Although I'm sure we came out of the harder game. But I think the Bengals will win this one. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like this is a legit call for a win. I'm not calling this one a toss-up. And partially because the Bengals need to win. I'm not going to call this a must-win, #must-win, or any of that crap. But they need to win. They need to win to keep their playoff chances alive. They need their win to continue to go up in the win column and hope that the Ravens falter at some point. And I know everybody says that the Ravens have the easiest schedule. I feel like there's going to be some pitfalls somewhere. I'm not going to sit here and say which teams because I just feel like someone is going to snatch them, snatch a win from them when they're not looking. When they get, they relax just a little too much or they overlook the team they're playing currently because they're looking ahead to the next week or whatever it is. The Browns, the Steelers, or whatever. I don't know exactly what the Ravens schedule is the rest of the way through. I just know it's teams that aren't over 500. But I know there's probably going to be some pitfalls in there, so the Bengals know they have to win if they want to get a chance of getting the division crown again. They have to do their job, and they have to hope that someone else can pop off, can knock off the Ravens a couple times. It's pretty easy math. But I do believe this team can win. I do believe they can beat the Titans. The Titans are not unbeatable. They are a good team, though, that will require them to show up and play a full 60 minutes. No doubt about that. This is not a cream puff. You're not going over them. And I'm going to be able to say that almost every week the rest of the damn season. What do I perceive this to be, though? What's the line? Hmm. 1.5. Ooh, they are calling it a toss-up, basically. Man. I'm going to stick with how I feel about the game. I'm not going to let that change my mind. I think this will be 24-20. I don't think we're going to see this massive offensive explosion. Titans D is too good for that. But I do think that the Bengals will be able to find their success when they find it. I think they'll find some success from time to time, be able to get some points on the board. And I'm calling it slightly higher than the 1916 game we had against them last year. But I'm going to call it 24-20. I do think they can win. It might require a lot more Evan McPherson to make some of that hay. But that's okay. I don't care. Winning is winning. As the deep prophet of our time, Dominic Toretto says, winning is winning. And family. It's always about family. Anyway, so yeah, I think we can. I think they'll win, in convincing enough way, but I don't think it's going to be some kind of blowout or anything like that. I think it's going to be a relatively close game, and it would be nice to see the defense kind of get the whatever the log jam is that's been keeping them from picking things off and making interceptions and fumble recoveries and things like that. There hadn't been a lot of turnover creation lately. And I'm wondering if this is maybe the game where the turnovers can start to come the Bengals' way. They create some and they force some and force Ryan Tannehill in bad situations or bad throws or something like that. That'll be interesting to see if we can do that. But so, anybody got any comments? Anybody got any questions that they want to throw in? Now is open Open table, open call. You're killing me, Smalls. But yeah, please feel free if oh, I saw something. It reminded me. Guess what? We have Chase back. It's not confirmed, but it is confirmed that he was on the practice field dressed, ready to go. And as far as I can tell, by everything I saw, it looks like he is he was a relatively full participant. I know they're just feeling it out a little bit, but the word is Chase is going to be a go, and that is just fantastic news. I mean, couldn't come at a better time. Let's be honest. So, yeah, it's great news. We need him back. Not because there's no way we could win without him, but because of what he does for the team. Even if he's out there on a snap count, a limited snap count, what he does for the team, what he forces the other defense to do, and how they have to change their approach and how they want to stack their defense. You know, I don't know why the Steelers are playing single man on T. Higgins. I don't know. Did they forget he was legit? Yeah, they paid for that too. And I'm sure the Titans have watched this. So if I'm quite sure they were planning on doubling T. Now they got to deal with Chase. So say what you want to say about that, but good, just good. But yeah, drop your comments in. I'm gonna stay on here for a few more minutes. We'll chit chat and BS a little bit. I'm happy to, but I want to get this. I want to get a dynamic conversation going here. I don't mind talking to a camera, but it's. I definitely want to work on. Okay, so here's something I do want to do. I wouldn't mind eventually, if anybody knows of any other Bengal streamers that might want to do like a live stream together, I don't mind hopping on somebody else's stream. That'd be kind of cool. Little crossover action or whatever you want to call that. That would be fine. I will be drinking. Sorry, it's what I do. I enjoy it. Not like alcoholic wise or anything, just I enjoy good beer. Or, maybe 2 or 3 fingers of a really good whiskey or tequila, bourbon. But tonight I felt like I kept this one. Actually, bought my father-in-law had his birthday recently, and we always try to find him different beers he's never had before, because he used to homebrew. Way back in the day before it was cool. He was doing it before it was cool. So, and this is the 6-pack that I bought him, amongst other things, was this Wooden Cask Brewing Company and New Porter, English Brown Porter. Quite delicious. They're in Newport, and if they want to sponsor the channel, I will be thrilled to talk to them. But they currently don't. Probably because they don't know I exist, and that's okay. But but yeah, it's I'm trying to grow this. Now I'm still debating, and I might even, I don't know, maybe I'll do a poll at some point, but probably after the season. I won't do it right now. But I've thought about splitting off the Stripe streams onto their own channel, kind of make a Bengal-centric channel, and then continue on Way of the Dad with the parenthood and dad lessons, and then of course pop culture talk and things like that, kind of on its own thing. I don't have a problem keeping it all on one channel, but it does feel like it's an interesting eclectic mix of things. So I'm thinking about that. But if you have any comments on that, or if you have any thoughts or opinions on that, let me know. I'm open to both ways of doing it. I'll get there. um, I've already thought of a couple names that I might roll with if I want to create it's if I want these stripe streams and the Bengals chat and the Bengals discussion to kind of have its own space to live in. I've already thought of a couple names for that, and I haven't decided on anything, but I've got a few in my brain. But so yeah, it's gonna be fun this weekend. And I think it's a 1:00 game, isn't it? I think it's a 1:00 game with the. Where's it at? Week 12. There we go. Okay, thank you. Easy there, NFL. Watch it with your video player. You're just getting a little aggressive. Yeah, 1 p.m. Was CBS. Oh, great. 2002 HD called, and they want their cameras back, I think. I don't know what is it with the HD on between Fox and CBS. Why do they look so different? CBS's HD always looks so. Now you could say Fox looks way oversaturated, like almost uh like video game level fake color, but CBS sometimes looks just. It looks like it's like 3 generations old HD. I don't know. It just looks. It doesn't pop, I guess. It's probably just fine. I mean, it's not like the game looks terrible. It just doesn't look as vibrant as it does on Fox. Um, so yeah, it's on CBS, 1:00. But yeah. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about the Titans game? What do you think's going to happen? Do you think they're going to win? Do you think they're going to lose? And look, I haven't called a loss yet, but I've been wrong a few times because I really didn't see the game going that way. I've got a few games later this year that I'm not sure how I'm going to call them. I actually thought the Bengals would make a lot more hay in the first half of the season, and they didn't make enough. And so now they're really up against the gun, and they really got to hit it hard. That's just all there is to it. They have very, very minimal room for error. I think the way I kind of saw it was they got to go 5-3 the rest of the way after the bye. So now they got one. So now they got to go 4-3 the rest of the way to have a chance 10-7 to get into the play, to have a viable chance of being in the playoffs. And that's as a wild card. If they want to win the division, 6-2, 7-1, and really hope and pray that somebody, a couple somebodies, 2, 3 somebodies, come up and pop the Ravens when they ain't looking. That's what's really got to happen. That's okay. But it can happen any given Sunday, and don't forget it. Any given Sunday. But anyway, so as always, I appreciate you watching. Trying to grow the channel. If you have comments, if you have suggestions, reach out to me either in the comments of these videos, through Facebook, Instagram. You can direct message me through those platforms. Also, just simple as it can be, wayofthedadpodcast@gmail.com. Don't hesitate to reach out. I love to get some feedback. When I get some feedback, I try to take it, on its merits and everything else. I'm not going to change everything just because somebody said something. But if it's honest, yeah, I'll take it and look at it and see what I can do about it. If you have something to recommend, something I should do, because obviously I do a lot on this channel. Movies I should watch, or maybe like a video concept that'd be cool to play with. I'm planning on doing some lists at some point, but with Bengal season, it does cut into some of the other free time stuff that I would maybe do. But I am working up some stuff. I have been, real quick before I drop off here, I have been doing some video re-edits, re-uploads of some of the old audio-only podcast episodes. So what I'm doing is I'm going back through. It's still the same episode it was before, but I am putting like a like this background you have here where it's rolling pictures. I'm putting some of that behind it so that at least it looks a little more interesting. Maybe gets a few more views. But also, I have stopped the audio side of the podcast as far as podcasting platforms. That will stop either this month or next month. I cannot remember which. So, but they will still be found here and on Rumble. So you'll still be able to listen to them there or watch them, as it were. But so um, I've already re-uploaded my James Bond. Um, it's not quite a rant, um, but it was my feelings on James Bond, and as far as the previous actors and whoever the next one's going to be. So I re-uploaded that one. I've got another one ready to go for Netflix's The Gray Man, which is actually a pretty fun movie to watch. And I am planning on doing a series or um, a playlist. Let's call it a new playlist of movie reviews that focus around father and son dynamic, and then maybe father and daughter dynamic. And movies that are good for that and why they're good for that. So I have some criteria I'm going to try to kind of, it's going to be a little loose, but I've got some criteria I've been playing with. I've already been, writing down some movies that I know of, that I can think of. And maybe TV series, although that's a higher bar to ask, because if I haven't watched the old TV series, I can't speak to it. But I will when I do know of a series. And then, of course, if you have ideas or suggestions, definitely throw them out to me. That'd be pretty cool. So, anyway, well, that's going to do it for this time. So, until next time, Who-Dey, take care and have a great day.